his radio show, and we're getting ready to talk with Joe Karp, and Joe, I know you haven't been listening to the show, but we did a whole thing on body donation, and we want to talk
body snatchers.
Body snatchers. We want to talk to you, Joe, so get ready. We're going to talk about that. Thanks, Dr. Mencia.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to The Wonderful World of Wellness with Dr. Andy Mencia. Be sure to tune in each Saturday morning from 7 to 7:30 right here on WSBR 740 AM.
Now on TV, the Cure Symposium TV talk show. It's new medical information. Watch host Anita Finley interview 18 doctors and scientists, talk about their cutting-edge procedures and research. Subjects include heart pacemaker, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's research, advances in knee and hip replacements, brain scanning, and other vital medical topics. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday in July from 9 to 10 a.m. on Beacon TV, channels 19 or 63. For information, call 561-735-6525 or on the web at curesymposium.com. That's 561-735-6525. Life is hectic enough without having to move, but there are times when moving is the right thing to do. So let's make it as easy as we can.
We lived in our home over 20 years, and the thought of moving was so traumatic until I spoke with those nice people from Moves for Seniors. I could hardly believe how simple they would make it. Pack us up, move us, and then unpack us, and even help us discard unwanted furniture and stuff. And so much more of those day-to-day changes that moving brings.
Move the smart way, the easy way. You can even go on vacation and let them do the work. Call Moves for Seniors at 888-273-7965. Again, that's 888-273-7965 or on the web at movesforseniors.com.
Well, we're going to talk with Joe Karp right now. Joe, you don't know that, but we've been talking about you, even though you weren't on the show. And we were talking about Science Care because we just had an explosive Boomer Expo. It was just packed solid, and it was really interesting to see all the people there. And so Science Care was there, and we were sharing, Dr. Mencia and I were sharing the question, does he, as a doctor, does he have a living will of his patients? Because in case someone needs, they're donating their body parts or they're donating their whole, their whole body. And it's a good idea. I think that doctors should think about that.
It's certainly worth asking the patient and the client. I mean, everybody, that's a real personal decision, and some people are just aghast at it, and some people are absolutely thrilled by it.
But Joe, excuse me, but that people make cemetery, they go and they make their funeral plans, don't think anything about that, they do that early. Why not? Shouldn't they involve their doctor and also make it known if they want to donate their body or their organs?
Oh, absolutely. The problem is, since that's still a very non-traditional, it's a non-traditional thing. A lot of people don't think about it or deal with it, and I think more information should be out there. In fact, I need you to send me some stuff, and I'll keep it in my waiting room for people to look at. One of my favorite stories is a client of mine who was a retired doctor, and he and his wife were in my office going over their estate planning documents. And one of the questions I ask is, do you want to be an organ donor when you die? And at the time they were signing, and he said, I'm a doctor. He said, you know what, I learned, my body parts are probably not worth giving away, forgetting about the fact that he may be wrong. He said, but I learned on a cadaver. He said, I think what I want to do when I'm done with me is donate my body to a medical school so somebody else can learn on me.
Right.
And that would be appropriate. And without batting an eye, his wife said, this is a true story, she said, well, that saves me the cost of a funeral. Let's go to the mall when we're done signing this. Didn't even blink. I mean, it just like flowed from her. She said, well, that saves me the cost of a funeral. We're going to the mall as soon as we're through here.
Oh, no. Well, it's actually, you want to know, the truth is that, of course, you always want to know the truth with me, but there's a friend whose son, unfortunately, in his 40s, fell off a roof and was in a coma and just passed away. And he didn't have much money. He was in North Carolina. And they called Science Care, and it was free. And they still could have a ceremony. They could still have everything. And so there is a place for it. And I think if you would have listened to Dr. Mencia's, we were on for an hour this morning, it was great to hear him because he talked about that. I asked him about the cadavers. And he mentioned you, and he said that he's sure that you do talk to people when you're building the living will and the trust, the estate and all, estate planning, that you probably do discuss it with them. And I think you can get away with it.
I have, well, the way I ask it, when we give clients who sign up their papers, we give them copies in a loose leaf binder.
I know, I have it.
One of the things in there is what I call, what do you want to do with you when you're done with you?
That's good.
And it has whether they want a memorial service, whether they want a funeral, do they want to be buried, do they want to do organ donation. So it gives them the space to do that. And I say that's something you should address and also address with your family so there's no surprises and no battles. And I would suggest particularly people who want to do organ donation, A, they should make it clear. B, organ donor you can put on a driver's license as well, so that's a good thing. So those are good things to do, and people should certainly consider it. The decision is personal, just like whether you want to give money to charity or not. It's a very nice thing to do, but not everybody wants to give money to charity, even if they have money. So,
well, Joe, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the expo for one moment because we were loaded with veterans, and you're such an expert at helping veterans. It was beautiful. I have a picture of a woman I'm going to put in the August issue. She's 90. She wore her uniform. Looks like great shape, and she's a veteran. She was a cadet in something from New York in one of the regiments, and it's just so beautiful. We had a color guard and we had a brigadier general who spoke, and it was heartwarming to hear him and to appreciate everybody. All those men who were there, a lot of them just brought the hats from the service, and we sang each one of the service's songs. It was really beautiful, and I know that your last article here in the July issue said, veterans benefits, don't count yourself out. Maybe that's a good topic this morning.
Okay, and I'm going to mention one thing that's not in the article that I handle related to disability issues and financial costs, something called pension and pension with aid and attendance. And that has to do with non-service connected VA benefits. Non-service VA connected benefits. And I'll talk about it in a second. But I want to tell veterans, number one, I don't care how much money you have or what, you should get into the VA medical system. Even if you don't avail yourself of it, sign up and get yourself into the system. Two, there are, and maybe some of your listeners have children who will be entitled to this. Some of your listeners will be entitled to this. Everybody thinks of service-connected disabilities and that veterans are receiving, quote, compensation for service-connected disabilities. And most of my clients who have it were in the infantry and they have a 10% hearing loss from World War II, and they're getting a minor check. There is one major service-connected disability for Vietnam vets that people are unaware of, so I'll share it with you. And then I'm going to say there's a ton other, this is not what I do, but they should meet with the VA if they were Vietnam vets who were either known as boots on the ground in Vietnam, which means they actually were on the land, or in brown water, which means they didn't go on the land, but they were in boats that were off the coast of Vietnam, have a ton of things that are now recognized as service-connected disabilities. And I'll tell you the one that sparked me when I listened to Dr. Mencia at the end. If you served in Vietnam and have diabetes 2, that is automatically deemed service-connected. They have now determined that there's a correlation between, not now, about 10 years already, service-connected disability, because there's a connection between Agent Orange and diabetes.
Wow.
So, and tons of veterans. I had one veteran who went to my seminar, and I happened to mention it. He came back a year later and said, Joe, you have altered my life. I now have the VA taking care of me. And because he got a significant disability rating because he had lost part of one leg from diabetes. And now all of a sudden it's all service-connected. He's getting a check, and he's going to be taken care of for the rest of his life. So it's an important thing to check out, and that's just one of many. Now, years ago, they denied anything happened related to Agent Orange didn't impact on our military. Now they're saying, and then there was a time where they fought for every disease, and then there finally came a time where they said, well, if you were, quote, boots on the ground, then they finally spread it to the Navy if you were in brown water. And it really can be life-altering in terms of the support that you'll get in the economic assistance. So always check it out. So if you are a veteran, and by the way, the strange thing is if you're a veteran who's boots on the ground and you weigh 400 pounds and you go to Dunkin' Donuts for breakfast, lunch, and dinner having 4 jelly donuts as your diet and have not exercised in 3 years, and your parents were diabetic, it doesn't matter. That may be part of your problem, but they automatically say if you were in Vietnam, you get it. So there's tons of stuff. So many of your listeners have children who served in Vietnam, and they should just explore that. They don't, God willing, they have nothing wrong with them, and there's a bunch of disabilities. The aid and attendance, the pension with aid and attendance that I talk about, is for non-service-connected disabilities. Non-service. And that means anything. Suppose you have Alzheimer's. Suppose you have Parkinson's. Suppose you have high blood pressure or you've had a stroke and you were in the service, but you never left Fort Dix, New Jersey. You served during what we deem to be wartime periods, even you were a pencil pusher. You never had anything warlike happen. Nevertheless, you can be entitled to governmental benefits if you meet certain criteria. One of the things I'm going to tell people is if you want to remember the Pencil Talk radio, I'm probably the only one who still knows Pencil Talk.
Right.
Anita's line for many years was, "This is Pencil Talk Radio. Get out your pencil."
I still do that, Joe. It's okay.
I want to tell people what to do and where to go on my website, and they can share information with their friends, neighbors, and read a 20-page booklet that really explains it. And I'll give an overview, but my website is Karp Law, KARPLAW.com. And under long-term care, there's veterans benefits, and there's a 20-page booklet, or maybe it's 16, that can be downloaded that explains these pension and pension with aid and attendance in detail. And that's a universal, by the way. By universal, I mean the United States. So if your cousin in Seattle, your brother in Pittsburgh, they can all use it. Unlike Medicaid, which is a state-by-state application of federal law, the VA is the VA is the VA. And I'll just give a quick overview of the rules. if you're a veteran or the widow of a veteran, and the widow could not have remarried, and the veteran served during wartime, and the dates are listed in there. I don't have the dates at my fingertips, but they're in the booklet. Served during wartime, and didn't actually have to be in the theater of war, and were other than dishonorably discharged, which means medical or honorable, and if you're over 65 or have a permanent or total disability. Now remember, over 65, I hate to tell you all, is deemed the same as permanent and total disability. So if you're over 65, you qualify. You don't have to be permanently and totally disabled. If you're under 65, you have to be permanently and totally disabled. And then what they do is they take a look to see whether you have recurring unreimbursed medical expenses. And the veteran and the spouse are entitled to have up to $80,000 in assets, not counting their house and car. But then they take the cost of your care and add it up, and then deduct your income from it, and that tells you them a net income. So I'll give you an example. If the veteran and the spouse have $70,000 and their house, and they're making $3,000 a month, but they are spending $500 a month on supplemental insurance, and they're spending $2,000 a month on care at home for the veteran, and they're spending $500 a month in the cost of depends, medical that's not covered by insurance, drivers back and forth to the doctor's office. Those expenses would equal $3,000. The insurance, the care, the diapers is $3,000. We deduct that from their income, and they're now at zero net income. And the VA would say if that veteran is in fact in need of that assistance, the VA will give over $2,000 a month tax-free to the veteran. Now, if the veteran's spouse is the one that's sick and incurring the expense, the amount is a lesser amount. It's about $1,300 and change. If the veteran is single, the expense, they give $1,700 and change. Assisted living costs are deemed valid medical expenses, not independent living, but assisted living, as well as caregivers. The other interesting thing, unlike the VA, unlike Medicaid, the VA doesn't have a penalty period for transfers. So I have a gentleman who met with me yesterday again, who is in wheelchair bound, needs assistance, and has a daughter whom he trusts implicitly. He thinks he's going to end up in a nursing home eventually, but he and his daughter are fighting the battle to keep him home. He's transferring $150,000 to her. There's no tax on the transfer because it's less than $5 million. And he's paying for care at home. And now he's going to be applying for the VA. We'll apply for him. You're not allowed to charge a fee to apply, but we're doing his Medicaid planning as well. And he's going to apply to the VA, so he hopes to get $1,700 and change back every month from the VA, tax-free, to help pay for the cost of his care. Now, we're also monitoring what happens with the other money so that we're sure if and when he ever needs Medicaid that money is protected and we can do what we have to do at the time. But this is a way to help keep people home, put people in assisted living, and pay for the care.
Joe, I just have to interrupt you to tell you that when most people have no idea about what you're talking about. They don't know about this, and it is so important that you attend Joe Karp's seminar. It's coming up the end of this month now, because these are the things that you get to hear. These are facts that seem so easy when Joe tells you, but he has a whole group of researchers. He makes sure that he's on top of all this information. So I do want everyone to get your pencils out. Remember, this is Pencil Talk Radio. We want you to write down Tuesday, July the 29th from 1:30 to 4 up at Port St. Lucie Holiday Inn. Wednesday, July 30th from 1:30 to 4 at the Courtyard by Marriott in Boynton Beach. Thursday, July 31st, 1:30 to 4, Palm Beach Gardens, Marriott. No reservations are required. And guess what? It's free. Free, free, free. You go there and you sit there and you listen and you will learn so much. Do take a pencil. I think you actually offer pencils and for people to write down. But
we give people hotel pins.
Okay.
We give them papers. What I will tell you to bring that I can't control is a sweater.
Right.
Hotels control their air conditioning. We also talk about estate planning, Medicaid planning, how not to go broke in a nursing home, how to avoid estate taxes, how to minimize them, how to avoid probate, whether you have to worry about estate taxes, even if you don't think you do, why you might have to. And the other couple of things I want to tell people is, number one, if you come, we will offer a free consultation. Now, we keep growing. Now, there's 5 other lawyers besides me in the firm handling all of our clients' business just related to this stuff. We don't do car crashes. We don't do shoplifting. We don't do speeding tickets. We don't do divorces. All we do is elder law and estate-related work, estate planning and estate administration when people die. And we will offer you as well if we believe we can assist you. I want to underline that. So if you come in and say, I live in New Jersey, I want to talk about my estate plan. Well, I don't believe I can assist you because I don't do work in New Jersey. Okay? I'm not licensed there. But if we believe we can assist you, we will offer you a free consultation. Now, by the way, as a warning to your listeners, because they have heard me on your radio over 15 years, I would guess, right, Anita?
Absolutely.
Okay, I am the longevity king.
Yes, he is.
And there's a reason for that. I'm like your listeners. When you find something good, you don't move on, you stay.
Thank you.
You stay with good. You don't move on. You know, if something works, you stay there. So we're not doing any workshops in August, September. We're not going to be offering free workshops and free seminars and free appointments if you don't come to this thing. So take advantage of it. We're not going to be doing them in August or September. So the next time around will be October. And I would bet that in October we're going to be packed and people are going to be coming in. So beat the snowbirds and show up.
Well, let me also tell people it's the website is extraordinary. It's so filled with information, and you'll be able to learn about the. If you didn't hear these dates, just go to karplaw.com. That's KARPLAW.com. Very easy to get to. And if you want to call instead, this is the number. It's 1-800-893-9911. 1-800-893-9911. Remember, Tuesday, July 29th up in Port St. Lucie, Wednesday, July 30th in Boynton Beach, and Thursday, July 31st in Palm Beach Gardens. And just you can check out where they're going to be and make sure that you know exactly what you're doing. But Joe Karp is probably one of the most revered and prestigious elder law attorneys I know in South Florida, whether it's further up north and all, it probably is. But what you get with Joe is not only extraordinary information, but you get a very compassionate, very understanding person. He's so down to earth. So I think that people will learn. You'll learn a lot at the lectures, seminars, but you will also be able to go and have a meeting with him, as he said, for an hour at no cost. And the reason he always says this is if you come to the seminar, your questions will be much less than if you just came as a cold person. That's why they have to charge a certain fee for you if you haven't gone to the seminars. Makes sense, Joe.
Absolutely. What we can do is first of all, by the way, just so we're clear, you probably won't be meeting with me. There are 6 lawyers, including me, so your chances of getting me are about 1 in 10, because I don't see as many as my other lawyers. I do what I do best. They do this other stuff well. They are good. They are competent. I see people. They see people. So, and don't worry, you're in good hands, and it's the Karp law firm. It's not anybody else's law firm. So my fingers are in the pot on every matter in the office. But we're there to help people and give them information. And if you don't want to go to the workshop and want to meet with us, just bring your checkbook or your charge card with you, because we'll give you a $400 appointment. That's not a problem. But coming to the workshop, we give you a big education. The education is we explain what things are, what you need, why you need it, and the you is generic. That's why you need an individual conference, because there is no you, realistically. Everybody is different, so where does everybody fit in the picture? So we offer that opportunity, and then you can come in focused rather than saying, oh, I moved here, I need to have my will looked at. And then I'll say, well, do you have a power of attorney? Do you have a trust? Do you understand? Now, are you worried about your kid getting divorced? Do you have a large IRA that you're interested in protecting so it doesn't get spritzed away 6 minutes after you die? So we talk about all of these things, and as well as the people who say, well, it's amazing, and there's such an information overload at that seminar. I don't expect you to come out knowledgeable. I hope that people who go to the seminar come out informed that A, there are problems they may not have thought about, B, that there are solutions for the problems that they didn't realize existed, C, much of the information that they had is false. I'll just give a quick example. If you're a married couple and you have a condominium worth $350,000 paid in full, and you have $600,000 between your bank accounts and brokerage accounts, and one of you goes into a nursing home tomorrow, if your paperwork is in order in terms of who can manage financial affairs and things, and both of you have Social Security of $1,500 a month, how long will it take to get Medicaid for the one in the nursing home? Your usual belief would be till we're broke, or 3 or 5 years. I can have that person on Medicaid in the month of September, legitimately, above board, with disclosure. I'm not going to give you the whole course. We do explain that at the workshop. We talk about why you can do what you can do and what authorities you need. So we dispel a lot of myths. Just as you listened to Dr. Mencia earlier, he is always talking about 2 things, prevention and cure. Prevention is always first. Always talking about how to avoid it. We want to run this test, we want to run that test, but if this is the problem, this is how we can solve it. But you can't always solve it this way, but we got another way. Not everybody is curable, just as not anybody can do it, so we can do a ton of stuff.
Thank you, Joe. It's been great, and we certainly hope that people will come to your seminars, and it was just wonderful having you on our show this morning. It just worked out perfectly. Thank you so much.
I'm the most happy fella.
I know, right? Happy fella.
Bye-bye.
We are too. Bye. Thank you.